So you're looking at the tech world right now, and it's confusing, right? On one side, you've got these incredible AI breakthroughs happening pretty much every day. But on the other, you keep hearing about all these layoffs. It makes you wonder, if I'm going to bet my career on something, is cloud still the right horse to back? Let's get into it. Deciding to learn a skill like cloud computing, it's not like picking up a weekend hobby. This is a huge investment of your time, your energy, your money. You're basically placing a big bet on your own future. And that's a heavy decision, because if you pick the wrong path, it can feel like a massive setback. So, is it the right bet? Is a cloud career still a smart move in today's world? To really answer that, we need to cut through all the noise, all the hype, and figure out where the real lasting value in tech actually comes from. And to do that, let's actually take a little trip back in time. Forget tech for a second. Let's talk about the California gold rush in the 1800s. You had this insane moment where tons of people just dropped everything and rushed out west, all with the same dream, striking gold and getting rich quick. But here's the thing about the gold rush. There were two groups of people. First, you had the gold miners. They were chasing the shiny new thing, hoping to get lucky. And yeah, most of them ended up with empty pockets. But then you had the other group, the people selling the picks and shovels, the ones building the railways. They weren't digging for gold, they were building the infrastructure that everyone else needed. And guess what? They were the ones who made consistent, real money. Okay, so let's bring that back to today. Think about all the huge trends: AI, machine learning, streaming, big data. These are the modern gold rushes. And what's the one thing they all have in common? They all need infrastructure to run. And today, the cloud is that infrastructure. It's the picks and shovels of our time. All that crazy computing power for AI, the global networks for Netflix, it all runs on the cloud. So the lesson here is that the most solid, long-lasting careers, they aren't about chasing the latest trend. They're about mastering the foundational tools that make all the trends possible. All right, so if cloud is the essential infrastructure, that leads to the next big worry a lot of you probably have. Okay, but am I too late to the party? Is it just too crowded now? And look, that's a totally fair question. The answer isn't a simple yes or no. First off, let's just look at the numbers. An average starting salary for a cloud engineer is around $87,000. Let that sink in. Companies don't just throw that kind of money around for fun. They're paying a premium because the need for these skills is huge. The demand isn't just there, it's pretty urgent. But, and this is a big but, the way you land one of those jobs has totally changed. I mean, just a few years ago, the playbook was simple. You'd go get a couple of cloud certs, slop them on your resume, and you could pretty much count on getting some calls for interviews. It was the signal that you knew your stuff. Yeah, that playbook doesn't work anymore. Now, the market is absolutely flooded with people who have certifications. So here's the key takeaway. The market isn't saturated with talent, it's saturated with paper. The new barrier to entry, the thing that actually makes you stand out from the massive pile of resumes, is hands-on experience, real-world skills. That's the thing hiring managers are practically begging for. Okay, that brings us to the elephant in the room: AI. If AI is this massive force driving everyone to the cloud, won't it just automate the cloud engineers right out of a job? It's a scary thought, right? Well, let's use another analogy to break this down. Think of AI tools like the autopilot on a plane. What's it good at? The easy, predictable stuff. Cruising at 35,000 feet in clear skies, no problem. It can handle routine tasks like analyzing logs or scanning your cloud bill for stuff that's costing too much. For those straightforward, well-defined jobs, it's absolutely fantastic. But when things get tricky, who do you want in control? The pilot. That's the cloud engineer. That's you. The pilot handles the takeoff and the landing, the most critical parts of the flight. That's like designing a whole new system from scratch. The pilot is the one who navigates through a massive thunderstorm or, troubleshoot a production server that goes down at 3 in the morning. The autopilot is great for the calm, but the pilot, the human, is there for the strategy, the judgment, and for when everything hits the fan. So here's the bottom line. AI isn't your replacement. It's your new, super powerful co-pilot. It automates tedious tasks, but it absolutely does not replace the responsibilities of an engineer, things like critical thinking, design, and complex problem solving. In fact, the engineers who learn how to leverage these AI tools are going to be more valuable than ever. Okay, so we've established that the job is safe, but it's competitive. So how do you become someone that companies are tripping over themselves to hire? The key is to shift your mindset.
Stop trying to be a generalist who knows a little about everything. The real game changer is becoming what's known as a T-shaped professional. So what on earth is a T-shape? Imagine the letter T. That top horizontal bar, that's your broad knowledge. You need a solid foundation in the basics. Compute, networking, storage. Certs are actually great for building this part. But the real magic, the part that makes you truly valuable, is the vertical stem of the T. That's your deep, specialized expertise in one or two key areas. That's what makes you different. And listen, this isn't just some nice theory. The money backs it up. A mid-level generalist might make, say, $140,000 a year, which is awesome, don't get me wrong. But a specialist, someone who's an expert in cloud security, they can pull in closer to $170,000. And why is that? It's simple. They solve a very specific, very expensive problem for businesses, and that expertise is worth a lot of money.
So, what kind of specializations are we talking about? Well, there's cloud security. That's always hot because a single data breach can literally ruin a company. Then you've got data engineering and analytics, turning all that messy data into actual business insights. With the AI explosion, folks who can build and manage machine learning platforms are in crazy high demand. And another big one is multi-cloud architecture. Having the skills to make AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud play nicely together, that's a tough skill, and it's super valuable.
All right, so that's the new playbook. Become a T-shaped specialist. But then comes the big question. How in the world do you build that deep vertical stem, that specialization, if you don't have a job in the field yet? The answer is actually pretty straightforward. You learn by building stuff. Look, watching tutorials and reading documentation is great. It gives you a map of the world, but it doesn't teach you how to navigate it. You only truly learn the terrain when you get your hands dirty, when you build something, run into a wall, and have to figure out how to get past it. That's where the real sticky learning happens. I mean, this quote from someone in the community just nails it. They said the real aha moment wasn't from a course. It came when they built their own virtual network in AWS, and it immediately broke. They spent hours debugging why two things couldn't talk to each other. That struggle, right there, that's the moment theory turns into an actual valuable skill. So let's circle back to the big question. Is a cloud career still worth it? 100%, yes. But the rules of the game have changed. It's not about who can collect the most certificates anymore. It's about who can build the most valuable skills through real hands-on projects. It's about becoming a deep specialist who solves painful problems for businesses. So now you have the new playbook. The question you should be asking yourself isn't, am I good enough? The real question is, what problem am I going to solve first?